Going live.
Nikos.
No. Hey, y'all, it's Mama.
It's y'all.
And like we said, we're going to go live. Excuse the mess back there. This used to be the kids' room, and we've kind of converted it into our game room. I know it's been a while. We had, obviously, some stuff we were working on. We were going to go live last week, but then I hurt my back at work, so didn't really have the energy to do anything. Of course. Oh, excuse me. So we kind of started it on our TikTok. So let me just kind of catch you guys up a little bit because, it was only a 3-minute TikTok, so it should be super easy, right? So this lady, whose name I don't remember, to be honest. Cheryl Kooky, something like that. She made an article stating that that Lia Thomas should be celebrated in the same way that we celebrated civil rights activists and things like that, like Jackie Robinson. She literally said Lia Thomas should be treated like Jackie Robinson. And I know we don't typically or ever go political on this channel, but it's just something that to me hits so close to home, being a female. I was never really into sports because I was more of a band geek. I wasn't very good at sports, I'll admit that. But that being said, for all of my friends who I have that were in sports and all of that, this is just, I feel I'm upset because this trans woman, which do not take this as me being transphobic or anti-trans or anything like that, because that is not who I am. I am all for you doing what you want to do so long as it doesn't hurt anybody in the process. And Lia Thomas, for those of you who don't know, because I had to explain it to Yak over here, Lia Thomas is a transgender woman. So used to be male, is now female. That is now in college, I believe University of Pennsylvania, and is in the NCAA on the women's swim team for University of Pennsylvania. Now, Lia Thomas, used to be William Thomas, is now Lia Thomas. I am totally okay with going with your pronouns, whatever things like that you need. That does not bother me. What bothers me is the fact that there is a biological difference between a man and a woman. A man naturally has more testosterone, which also means they naturally have more muscle mass. They are capable of hitting harder, lifting heavier weights, being, let's be honest, faster, because again, you run with the muscles in your legs, and that is what allows you to be able to be faster. And in this article that this person, I did link it in the description. I did link to the article in case anybody wants to read this for themselves, because I am all about knowledge. Knowledge is power. It's important. Go do your own research. I'm totally 100% behind that. Now, in this article, this person states there is no biological difference between a man and a woman. That is what they state. They stated that the biology, the scientific evidence does not prove that biology plays a difference. But then also goes on to state that even that it's not the only factor, that there's other factors like coaching, drive, other things like that. So my biggest issue is you kind of contradicted yourself. Either it's not a factor or it is. Now, I kind of believe along the impression, again, this is my view. He doesn't always agree with me on a lot of political things. my view is I feel like you can't truly be for women's rights and also allow things like this to happen. There is a reason that men and women's sports are separated. Biologically, a man is stronger than a woman. That's just science. So, for me to basically take all of these females that had, I mean, this, her win, Leah Thomas's win knocked out people, women, real biological women, from being able to be on the Olympic level simply because they didn't get first. These transgender women that are coming into our sports, maybe it's not because they just can't make it. Most of the time, they tried to be in men's sports and were not good at all on that level. Lia Thomas ranked number 463 in the men's NCAA division and is now number 1 in the women's division. And I just, that's where we're at this point. That is, I guess, the facts of what is going on. Now let's get into the juicy part of comparing this trans woman or comparing Lia Thomas with Jackie Robinson. Now I'm gonna kind of let you take over because I feel like, let's be honest, this day and age with the way that things go, me as a white woman, whatever I say is really gonna just go in the ears, in one ear and out the other, and people are gonna say that I don't get an opinion because I don't understand the melanin issue.
Well, this ain't even a melanin thing. This is definitely a man and woman thing. But first of all, whenever you make a massive achievement, immediately comparing it to an achievement of the past takes away from it.
Yeah, give me that.
So to compare Leah to Jackie Robinson immediately takes away. If it was a historically changing thing, it makes it less so. It's like you're taking someone else's clout.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
If it's that big of a deal, Jackie Robinson didn't go around talking about it. It just became a big deal. If Leah hitting this level is a big deal, then let it be a big deal. Stop trying to compare it to stuff that will definitely piss some people off. 2, men and women are very different biologically, but I will admit that when you're playing sports, especially as a woman, your testosterone level goes up. And if you compare a woman that plays sports to a man that just sits around all day playing video games, she's going to have a higher testosterone level than him. But it still doesn't change. She's a man and a woman that plays sports. He's going to outdo her when it comes to chemicals, unless she is taking pills or supplements or something.
Yeah, roiding up.
Now, there obviously are always exceptions. There's always an exception. But we're not playing in exceptions. When you're doing the Olympics or you're doing these sports, these are people getting their chance to show what they're capable of. And when you bring in somebody else that has this massive perk, it's unfair. It's like having steroids and then playing a sport. It's like playing baseball, major league, and you're taking steroids. It's not fair.
Reason that's illegal, people.
It's a reason it's illegal. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to change your gender. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to have your own truth. Have it. That's completely and totally okay. As a matter of fact, I'm in massive support of how progressive this stuff is. What I'm not in support of is when you start allowing this emotion that you're getting from all this progression to start to overtake facts. That's when it starts to bother me.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Again, this trans woman is, it's not the same thing.
It's not.
I'm not saying you can't transition. You can't be, like you said, live your truth. Live who you are. I celebrate everybody for the most part, for being who they are. Now, obviously, it gets a little gray on like psychopaths and murderers and people like that. Because again, my thing is, I have come to the realization that I'm very libertarian. I'm not liberal. I'm libertarian. The difference between that is the fact that I truly believe that, again, so long as you're not hurting anybody, do you, boo boo. Do you live your truth? Do what makes you happy. But when you start affecting other people's, again, Olympic chances, you start coming in and knocking down biological women who are not made the same way that you are, then I have a problem.
You're literally built different.
Yes.
You're literally built different. It's not fair. It's not fair. What do I look like going into if I had some type of mental disability that knocked me down to a 3-year-old? What do I look like hopping in the Olympics with 3-year-olds and absolutely destroying their asses?
Well, I think one of my favorite...
I mean, it is a fucked up comparison because obviously...
I mean, yeah, it is a little on the extreme,
but that's what we're trying to say. There is a obvious difference. Just because on the inside I feel this specific way does not mean physically I belong over there. When it comes to Olympics, it's all genetics. It's all physical.
Yeah, it is.
It's all based off of everything that's going on with the flesh. So when you are born with a massive amount of testosterone in you, even if you're a woman, let's say you were born a woman with man levels of testosterone, you got hairy chest and beard and a lot of muscle mass and everything. Even then, I question if you should be doing it.
Well, here's the thing. I have PCOS, and what that typically means is that my body makes more testosterone than most women. That means that that's why I get, for those who don't know, PCOS stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. What that means is there's so much extra testosterone that it's causing cysts to grow on my ovaries. I mean, you can't tell, but I mean, thankfully I'm on a more mild case than most people. I mean, I was still able to have children and stuff like that. I did actually have to go on medication in order to have one of my children. But that being said, even some women who have the extreme cases of PCOS and have the extreme cases of testosterone, it's not the same as a man having testosterone.
It's not.
So I kind of want to disagree with you on that.
I see where your disagreement is, but my entire point is, in the end, the physical matters.
Yes.
Stop trying to compare yourself to people in the past who went through a completely different struggle than you did.
Oh, and not only that, but here's the thing. Jackie Robinson was still a man trying to play in a man's sport.
That's true.
There is no biological difference. It's not proven that,
Oh, we've acknowledged that. That fact that they said that there's no scientific proof, that's absolutely a lie. There's massive scientific proof. There's a reason why we ask you what your sex is when you walk into a hospital, right?
Yeah.
Your pronouns matter, but when you walk into a hospital, you are what you were born as.
Because...
And it's not because we want to disrespect you, because there's a difference. If a man walks in and says, I have a stomach ache, and a woman walks in and says, I have a stomach ache, likely with the man, it has something to do with his digestive system. Maybe he got hit or something. It's easy to catch on to. With a woman, there is a whole nother organ there.
Yeah.
And if that organ is messing up, that's death.
Yeah.
As much as people want to start saying that the genders don't matter and that the body is physically the same, you're all born the exact same. You're not. Some people are just born with certain perks. That's just how it is. Accept that, and if you want to change that, actively go for it yourself and change it. But that doesn't mean start going after, if you have a genetic physical perk that gives you more strength, you probably shouldn't be going into a strength exercise with people who are weaker than you.
Well, there's weight classes.
Yeah, at this point, there should be hormone classes. If we're going to be doing this, there should be hormone classes. There should be a body mass index where they test your muscle mass to your fat. They should test your hormones. And then that's how you figure out what place you're in. That's how you figure out who you're competing against. So it's fair again. Because at this point,
I mean, yeah, I mean that almost is. Here's the thing. My thing is I'm not saying you can't compete in sports.
Yeah, absolutely, you can. That's completely fine. You'll probably outswim me. Absolutely outswim me.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's the same thing as somebody who's on steroids. You are chemically different. You are altering the chemicals in your body, the way that your body handles certain things. You know, it's just it's not fair to real women, biological women. I'm sorry, I should not have said real women, because you're still, you know what?
You're still a woman.
You're still a woman. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. But you are not a biological woman. Biologically, you are not the same as them. They are not on the same level as you, and you are not on the same level as them.
Not saying that you can't put yourself somewhat on the same level physically. It does take some work.
I mean, there are women out there who can best with the boys, but more often than not, we can't. You know, it's kind of like what you said in the TikTok video. There are things that men are good at, and there are things that women are good at. And that is
a fact of life.
It really just is.
And I know you might hate that, especially how world history has been going and men being these overly domineering people until recently. I understand accepting that freaking sucks.
There are things that suck about it, yes.
But that's just genetics in life. That's just how it is. Instead of actively fighting and ignoring these truths and facts, how about you take them for what they are and learn to work with it?
And I'm not going to say that, you know, I'm against inequality or whatever. I'm not against, let me put it this way. I'm not necessarily for equality. I'm for equity. You trying to keep everybody on the same level doesn't actually put us on the same level. Trying to give us all the same advantages does not actually give us all the same advantages. It kind of goes to the whole, you know, asking a fish to climb a tree. You can be like, oh, well, I'll give you all the exact same advantages that I give to the monkey.
It's not fair.
But the monkey
is gonna win.
Win no matter what. That's how it's gonna end up being. Now, if you want to call it equity, you want to have them both compete or do something that they're both capable of doing, or understanding that these two things are different.
I'm gonna leave it as if you want to do this, cool. But the Olympics are gonna have to change if people are gonna be doing this.
I mean, at this point, why don't we make a third
branch
class,
of the Olympics?
A third branch? Yeah, we always have the female class, or the females and the males. There's a reason we keep those separated.
Well, I think it should be.
So why not have one that is
gender neutral? There is no gender.
And not Olympics. Let's just call it, again,
the Olympics.
Gender neutral is probably the best thing that I've ever.
The human Olympics. There is no gender here. But
but I'm also one of those that's all for, like, why don't we have a class where we let people take all the drugs that they want to do, and let's see how high a human can really jump. That's just me.
Yes. But here's how I'll make it for all those people who want to take advantages, steroids or whatever. If you're going to be coming into this after having a physical sex change, either from man to woman or woman to man, you're going to be physically different than the people around you once you come in there. Hormonally, you will eventually be on their same level, because that's going to happen. Eventually, you will be on their level hormonally. Maybe not physically, maybe. But for the sake of making things fair and not having that factor that your genetics might be a fucking problem, at this point, you need to be testing people's body mass. You need to be testing their hormones to make sure they are both capable of the same things. Because at that point, if you do it that way,
that's a necessity. Honestly,
it's not a necessity.
I don't feel like we need to go to that extreme. I feel like I mean, yeah, there are definitely changes that need to be. Thanks, Ortiz. He says, I'm down to see how high someone can jump. Welcome to the conversation, my dear.
You're gonna blast their legs off. What was that? Cocaine.
Well, I mean, okay, let's do it. Let's put it this way. There's a reason that there is a Special Olympics.
That's actually, it's pretty. Y'all gonna hate that we compared it to that, in which you're horrible individuals for hating that, because in the end, it's the truth.
Our society these days is so afraid of the truth.
Yeah,
they're run on emotion.
There it is.
And they don't sit back to let their emotions stay in control to the point where they're ignoring facts. They're ignoring logic.
They know what they want, and they don't care what it takes to get it.
And it makes me so sad. Like, I feel so bad.
Eventually, you start hurting people who are genuinely innocent. I changed myself to a woman to go boxing because I used to box.
Yeah.
That's not fucking fair.
Well, and also, here's another thing. So the girl who came in second.
And even if I lose, it still wasn't fucking fair.
Yeah. So the girl who came in second, she has been posting and saying a lot of stuff about it on Twitter. Twitter banned her for simply speaking the truth. For trying to get her truth out there, to let her feelings be known. Simply because, again, and even most professional athletes, men and women, agree that there is a difference. Even a man, a person who was born a man, taking suppressants is still not the same as a biological woman. They can hit harder, they can run faster, they can build up mass.
Way easier.
Much easier than a biological female can. And I just feel like that's something that we really need to stop letting society control everybody with emotions.
What I am worried about is if you start saying that people need to stop using their emotions.
No, I didn't say they stop using. I think emotion is important. No. It's very important, and there are certain times where you do need to let your emotions control you a little bit. But for the most part, you need to have that under control. If it gets to the point where you're ignoring facts simply because you don't feel okay about it, that's not okay.
That's not right. But my point is, we're still trying to be progressive here. We want people to do what they want the right way.
Yes, that is the key to it. You got to go about it the right way.
And going into an Olympics, when going to a fighting or whatever sport, and you're a guy or was born a guy, has transitioned into a woman. I don't care how many hormones you're taking or how equal to them you are hormonally. You have a genetic perk that they do not have.
All right, we're big geeky people, right?
It's not fair. It's like you give a woman steroids, even though she's been doing the same training as you, and the same practice, and the same coach. She has steroids. She has a perk on you. Even if you win, she had a perk on you.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's put it out this way. We're huge geeks. We do things like D&D. Certain classes have certain perks.
Don't hand the wizard an axe and tell him to hold the line.
Same time, don't hand your freaking barbarian
the wand and tell him to start casting AoE spells.
Or don't go up to a barbarian and tell him he can't get enraged.
You're not allowed to use rage anymore. You're a caster.
Yep. That's it. That's all you're allowed to do.
What is currently happening right now is we have a barbarian going into a group of fighters in a one-on-one fight. They both have a sword. They both have the same training. But barbarians are born with rage, while fighters just have action surge. I'm sorry. Even if the barbarian was a lower level, he's going to hit probably harder than you.
Yeah. I think
you might win, but he had a perk that you did not, and that's not okay. It should be action surge versus action surge or rage versus rage. If you want to mix it up, that's a whole nother can of worms where the people who made the Olympics need to just stop letting people step in and they need to balance it out.
And again, I want to reiterate because of course people are people and they're going to take this and be like, you're transphobic. No, I'm not.
Actually,
Speak your truth, speak your piece, do what you want to do, so long as you're not affecting
I'm
other
not
people.
transphobic. If my wife told me that she was a man, I'd still be with her and still be just as happy and still smash her. Nothing will change.
It's just no, I'm just kidding.
Nothing would change.
It's just I just I'm just concerned for the future that my kids are growing up in.
Yeah, it's going to start to become really unfair for them. And now I can sort of see the relevance of them comparing it to the civil rights movement. But the difference is in the civil rights movement, you were born with something that you can't hide.
Well, not only that, we're not telling you. The biggest difference for me and why I feel like every Black person should be upset about this and why they should be angry is simply because Black people were just humans trying to have human rights.
Basic human rights.
They just wanted to be treated as much as human as everyone else. They're female, Black, I don't want to say people, but that's all I keep thinking about. The Black females wanted to be treated like other females. Black males wanted to be treated like other males. They weren't asking to have special privileges and to be able to go against the rules and have the rules not apply to them.
We just wanted to be treated the same as everyone else because we don't have a genetic perk unless you want to count the sun.
Sunburn's hurt. I'll consider that a perk. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't sunburn as far as I know. But the difference is the battle you all are fighting is not the same battle that the civil rights was fighting. The battle the civil rights was fighting was basic human rights. I just want to live the same way you live. It's not a sport.
I want to.
That's not a sport.
Exactly.
We're not competing. I want to live the way you live. What Jackie Robinson was fighting, it wasn't about how good he was. It was that he was a Black guy playing baseball, got good, and people did not want to see that.
No, they didn't. Simply because he was of a certain color.
Completely equal grounds.
Color is not the same as gender.
It is not the same.
It's not the same. It is not.
It is a different battle that I honestly,
I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be better trans rights because there are certain things. I mean, I am very much so pro-love. I mean, at one point in time, you and I were not allowed to be married because of our color. Simply, that's it. As long as you are two consenting adults, I don't care what you do.
Two consenting adults. So those guys out there, those weirdos.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
No, that's not an excuse. No. You need therapy.
And at this point, Lia Thomas is trying to.
You're cheating.
Yeah, you are.
It's not.
I mean, Michael Phelps got in trouble for smoking pot and was banned. I don't know if he was ever fully. I'm pretty sure he. Well,
a couple people were banned from smoking pot.
Exactly. For something as simple as a recreational drug, which honestly to me should not be any different than somebody drinking alcohol. That's just me. It's not my personal thing. It's not something I want to ever do.
The fact that you want titties and a vagina should not change the sport you're playing with and the people that you play with.
You're still
biologically, you have that same perk and you can't get rid of it. You can sort of weaken it with hormones, but you still have the perk. It's not fair.
Yeah. And
it's like me and her going to the beach. Let's see, hey, who's gonna get a sunburn first? That's not fair. She's gonna beat me every fucking time. Even if I have freaking UV lights, perk things that I'm using to help myself out, she's gonna burn before I do. I promise you. And if I burn before she does, it's because I put in a shit ton of work that she didn't have to put in.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah. So
be lucky.
It's not okay. Yeah, I understand you're trying to live your life and play your sport. You're doing it wrong. You're cheating. And I mean, technically cheating is a sign that you really want it, so I can respect the drive. But you're hurting people.
You're going about it the wrong way.
Okay. You're hurting people. You're destroying entire careers. Sorry. You're destroying entire careers because they went up against a person that had a whole different genetic lottery going on. And I can understand that. I can understand that there, even between just women, that there are all these genetic different things. Imagine how big of a deal it is once a fucking man walks in. Not calling you a man, but if a fucking man walks in.
A biological male.
It's not okay. It's not fair. And even if they win, it still wasn't fair.
I mourn for our society sometimes because there are a lot of things that I am so very grateful that we but I want to blow smoke at him, okay? But
The true definition of
I am so glad on a lot of the progresses that we are making.
Freedoms.
As a female who was hoping to join the military, but medical stuff got in my way. And no, it just wasn't the fact that I'm fat, which yes, I am. Then that would definitely be a factor at this point. But when I was trying to do it, I wasn't. I had other things that was going on with me that kept me from being able to do it. Now, it is hard for me as a female to accept this simply because we as females have fought so hard to be considered, I don't want to say on the same level, but to have the same support that men's sports have. Exactly. Give me the
You're cheapening the battle women fought to get what they currently have.
Exactly.
Because now a man can just, no disrespect to the person currently doing it, but if I legit just said, hey, I just want to be a chick, I can walk in, say I'm a chick, no surgery, no nothing, I'm just taking some pills, and beat everyone's ass. It's not fair.
I get that there are, okay, so I will say this. There are certain rules in the NCAA. They have to have been on hormonal suppressants for at least a year.
That's why I said take some pills.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But so, like, yes, I get that. It's just you're
cheapening it.
You can't be fully for women's rights and support things like this because you're taking away what women have fought so hard to do.
And when you compare it to Jackie Robinson, you start to disrespect us.
And
this is a whole nother fight.
I am just...
It is a fight of its own. Stop trying to compare it to other things in history. This should be in the history books. This fight that they're currently fighting for all the freedoms that they want should be in the history books.
You should be allowed to marry the person you want, be the person you want. Call yourself whatever you want.
I'm an attack helicopter.
I will use your pronouns.
Don't.
Whatever you want. You want to go, you want to be non-binary and go off, be called they, them. I think there's another one. So it's he, she. No, it's he, him, her, she, they, them. I'm totally cool. Whatever your pronouns are, I will learn it. I will be your advocate so that way you can get to be seen as a human who's allowed to marry, again, consenting adults. That's a big part of and do what you want to do with life, again, so long as you are not hurting other people.
You know, what she is currently doing, hurting other people. She might not be doing it on purpose, but think she's doing it kind of on purpose. Maybe not with that intention, but she's hurting other people. It's not okay. You're cheapening all the work they've put in because you have a perk.
And I will say this, if the roles were reversed and it was a trans man that was trying to do this, I would still just be as upset because
I'd be actually more. I mean,
I'd be
pretty
probably
badass, but
I'd be probably a little bit more impressed, but at the same time,
it's still not okay.
It's still not the same because trans women who are transitioning into a man, who are becoming transgender men.
There are some women that are absolutely destroying it as that, though.
Oh yeah, I would never want to go up against Ronda Rousey or any of them.
Oh, but Ronda Rousey is fine. Is she gay?
Oh, I didn't say she wasn't good looking. I'm saying I don't want to ever get on her bad side.
I was about to say she transitioning. Dang, we lost a good one.
No, we lost a good one. Y'all gaining a good one. Why you complaining?
I mean,
anyways, no. What I'm saying is, Jesus, keep your mind out of the gutter.
Rhonda,
don't stop it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, even if a trans man was trying to go and do what Lia Thomas is doing in the NCAA women's division, but going to the men's division, I would still be just as upset because they're given a pill to change their hormones. To me, it's on the same level as getting steroids, which I mean, I haven't. Look, there's still a lot of information that I will admit I'm slightly ignorant on. I'm not 100% sure as to like the actual chemical build, makeup of all the medications that they take. What I know is if a man on steroids is illegal, then a woman on hormonal medication is illegal for sports. There's a reason. They want you to come on a basic human level.
Come as you are.
Work hard. I'm not telling you not to work hard and not to do what you want to do and enjoy it. Unfortunately, there's a right way and a wrong way to go about things. And what Lia Thomas is doing and what the NCAA is allowing is not okay.
Lia, you're a badass. You're probably more capable than most of the.
You're amazing.
The human race.
You're great. You're still on a higher level.
But you have stepped into the wrong ring.
Yeah. Go fight your fight
somewhere else.
Yeah. So on that, I realize we kind of been ranting a little bit. And again, Ortiz, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you, bruh. Just, I'm going to leave you with this thought. Accepting a person for being human is important. A trans man, a trans woman deserves to live their happy, full life.
With the same support that you would give to anyone else.
And go fight your fight. I will do what I can. I mean, again, I'm not very politically active or whatever, but do you. Just don't hurt people in the process. Do it the right way. You want to compete?
Compete.
At this point, they really need to.
They need another division.
They do. They need another division. And I feel it's important for this to be made so that people like Lia Thomas can compete on that level. I want you to compete on that level. Do not take it as I'm trying to keep you from fulfilling your dreams and doing what you want to do. Just go about it the right way. Why are we not pushing for the NCAA, the Olympics, all these different things to give these people a chance by giving them their own division?
But I will say this. when you open up another division like that, you do out the ones that want their privacy. So for the sake of that, make it maybe an anonymous division.
Well, I liked your idea of
Mm.
just a
They basic
non-gender division. You want to come in and
we accept all.
yeah,
The
I mean, do what you gotta do.
only thing we care about is body composition.
Yeah, just minions yelling.
Yeah. I think that's the entire point. For one, what's her name?
Lia.
Lia, you're in the wrong ring. For two, I don't think they built the ring for you yet, which is they need another division where you can come in and do what you do best.
And I think that's I think that's a thing that I haven't. I mean, I've seen people kind of mention, "Oh, just get your own division." Why are we not pushing for that? Why are we fighting for biological men to compete with biological women instead of trying to make it so that these trans people can have their own space? Don't take over my space. Create your own. Create, it.
Well,
I know some people's gonna probably
when you
have
make
an
it
issue
like
with
that, they
that's
make
fine.
it like you're separating. Oh, we're separate but equal. No, we're
It's
not
not
doing
the
it.
same.
It's
But
not the same.
But here's the thing: we're not equal.
yeah,
We are not equal. I am not equal to him in strength. He is not equal to me in organizing. My brain just works better that way.
I cannot organize for my life.
I could probably punch him and he'd barely feel
she's
it.
probably a lot smarter than I am.
Probably.
She's a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah.
But a lot of my problems can be solved with broad. So.
And if they can't, he is very good about knowing his limits.
Yep.
And coming to me for help.
Indeed. When your brain stops working, you go to the one that does.
I mean, all right. Well, we should probably let people get it.
Yeah, but I think it's that it's we need another division, where it's just about body composition and people can do what they do and be happy. And technically, we're not outing you because maybe there are some trans folks in the other divisions. You don't know. Yeah, you know for a fact that this division probably has some trans people, but if you're treating human beings like human beings, you don't know who is who or what is what. At that point, you're assuming, oh, they have an Adam's apple, must be a guy. You're being a dick, mate.
So, I guess we'll leave you with all those ramblings, if you will.
Take all
we love you guys.
These puzzle pieces we've just thrown at the screen and mic and camera, and do something with them.
All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day. We love everybody. We want everybody to be happy. We just want you guys to be happy and go about it the right.
What's her name?
Who? Lia Thomas?
Lia.
Yeah, girl, hit me up. I totally
teach me how to swim better.
Sinks
like a rock.
We've tried it. I float much better than he does. All right, y'all. We love you. We don't want anybody to take this as we're attacking anybody because that's not what we're doing. We're just trying to make it so that women can have our place,
a fair chance.
Yeah, that's all we're asking. We're asking about equity, not equality, because we're not equal. Everybody does something different. Everybody's brain, I mean, here's a man who's very neurodivergent. I'm slightly neurodivergent. We're kind of figuring that out. And I mean, our brains, I mean, we fight a lot about the way that our brains handle things because I'm a very logical person. He's a more emotional person.
What you think would be the complete opposite based off just look.
So it's just, it just play to your strengths. Don't try and take somebody else's strengths away. All right. Bye, y'all.
Yeah.